Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Germination, Nendan Jombua, Nukala. Scratch all that out, that's too long. Who cares about those titles? I'm your girl Germination, and together on the Germa podcast, we're gonna dive into stories that will help to inspire, to provide you with actionable tools that you need to transform your pain into purpose, to build resilience, faith, family, to build that grit that you need to be successful and to transform your journey. Because guess what? Our stories are still being written. If you haven't subscribed yet, stop right now. You need to subscribe to the Germa podcast, and we will start with you and we will walk through this together. I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you my story and I'll give you time to tell me your story. So let me start with me, your girl Germination. At the end of each episode, you know what I'll do? I'll provide you with some Germa germs. Why do I call them Germa germs? They are actionable things that you will be able to use to navigate your week. Because I tell you what, you need something. We can grow together. So, who is this lady sitting in front of you? All of a sudden, she has glamorous dresses or borrowed hair, whatever you call it, right? Her journey didn't start like that. Are you ready? Are you subscribed? Now let's go. Yes, your Germination, my story started in Douala, Cameroon, and went to multiple different countries, including South Africa, and then to the United States, where I landed in West Virginia. So I went from struggles, I transformed my struggles into something purposeful. I'll tell you the story throughout, but I'll tell you what, if somebody told you you can't do something, tell them they haven't seen the beginning, the middle, and the end of your story. Because as you listen to mine, I want you to listen keenly. Pick up those things that you're gonna ask me, and pick up those tools that you need to rewrite your story. It's just about to begin. I was a little girl born in a polygamous home. My dad had multiple wives. It is legal. Yeah, it is legal. And I was one of the last. I don't remember what number of kid I was, but I know my mom came in as the third wife. And we lived happily, I think, aside from me being sick as a baby, and I talk about that in a different episode. Other than that, I thought life was good. Until one fateful day, my dad was a pilot. He went to work just like your dad, your brother, anybody in your life. He went to work. He loved to give himself. He loved to sacrifice for other people. From what we hear, he wasn't supposed to be on that flight that ended his life. They were coming back from Paris, and he was called because the weather was so bad. And they asked Dad, please, would you fly that plane? Because the other pilot called out. He could have said no. He thought about his family, he loved them. But he always liked to give himself. You should learn how to say no sometimes, especially when your instinct is telling you. He didn't. He got into the flight, and unfortunately, the plane crashed. I was only 6 years old when that happened. Imagine that. He left 20-something children, 3 wives, coming from a culture where women had nothing to say. I was 6 years old, so I wasn't really thinking of anything, but my mother was going through all of it. When we went to the village, we buried him. We weren't supposed to go to school, me and my sister. I guess, we were supposed to sit home and maybe get married, maybe do something domestic, but certainly not school. My grandfather said over his dead body, because he was a teacher and he was sick, he was in a wheelchair, he couldn't be there. It's like many of us, we have grandparents in different states. We have grandparents in different places. A lot happens to us. And that family, it's always our anchor. I talk about that too. After they said we couldn't go to school, it was a lot. We felt rejected. We felt like we didn't belong. But my mother, a strong widow, she wasn't about to give up. She was only 35 years old. Imagine that. With 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. We went back home, but her father was always there every step of the way. He loved her. He understood that she needed help with the children. My grandfather took over from there, supported us, as well as my mom, and of course my dad's pension. And when it was time for me to go to college, they said, oh, there's no money for you to go to college. And I said, what am I supposed to do? And it was like, well, you're gonna figure it out. I started looking for a job. So college in Cameroon, it's like 13, 14, it's like middle school. That's what it is. When I got out of middle school and high school, I had to look for a job. I went to multiple homes. Some homes embraced me, some didn't. But I worked as a nanny. I did everything I could because I thought my life had a purpose. The moment I was born, and then I was sick with measles, and I almost died. And some magical lady saved my life, which I call an angel. She said I had a purpose. My grandfather told me that again. My first year of middle school when I did so bad, he said, God has given you a second chance. There's something you will offer the world. So I knew my life wasn't to get married to a man and just be a housewife and give him children. I wasn't gonna do that. So I saved some money. I did all sorts of little things. So if you're like me and your parents are struggling and you're doing little jobs to become something, you're not alone. We've done it. That story is what is being written because your life is about to change. Shortly after that, I had enough. I think for me, I had enough. I told my mom, I want to go to South Africa. Since I can't go to America, let me go to South Africa. I could model, I could make some money, then I'll go to America. My mom was a little bit hesitant, but she knew that I was a hustler. And she knew I wasn't about to back down. So she's like, okay, I will support you. She loaned money from different places. In Cameroon, there's no bank to really loan from. You go to a friend, give me this. They call them jangis. It's like groups where you put money together. And we got, change here and there. And I went to South Africa. I was only a little girl. I didn't even know what a boyfriend was about. But I knew I had to be on survivor mode. When I got there, I landed a job. I landed a modern job and, like a store, like a cashier in a store. I worked day and night like my dad was not a pilot. I went from grace to grass. Throughout your journey, you're going to overcome, you're going to pass through these obstacles. Don't give up. Don't give up. You're better than those. And as I worked, I saved money. I had $10,000. And I was so excited. I said to myself, oh my God, this is it. With this money, I can go to America, get a job with Beyonce. She's gonna adopt me. Yes, I had admired her. I've been blonde for the last 12 years. Because blonde, I thought I looked good in blonde. What do you think? If you want me to go black, I will go black. But let's get back to the real deal. I went back home to Cameroon. My cousin was helping me get through the paperwork. One fateful day, I had a question. I wasn't really sure about what we're doing. So I went to the store at the street called Saint-Germain, which is where I met my husband, and that would be a whole nother episode. But we worked it out with him, my cousin, and my now current husband. We walked through the paperwork, and I got my visa. And the next question was, what would the future look like? When I got to the United States, I found myself in West Virginia. We navigated the questions, the process. The process, you have to get through the process, okay? Germinators, you have to get through the process. There are no steps that will be skipped, and you will be just fine, I believe. I met him. He was interested in a relationship, but I wasn't. I was too focused. I wanted to be a doctor. My dad said I would be a doctor, so that's all I knew. But I had different agendas. I knew that if God gave me a chance, I'll make it to the United States, and there will be money. Just like that, I'll become something. I didn't understand that I still have to go through the process. I'll have to work really hard. We went the first time, the consul denied me the visa. He said I didn't have enough. Came back, I told my cousin, and he said, we will not give up. We'll give it another chance. Together with Jean, my husband, we came up with, what did they really need? They just needed some more financial statements to prove that I will return home after my education. I got that, and I went back the second time. And the consul gave me the visa, and he said, once you're done, be sure to come home. I told him, I will. When I got the visa, I flew to the United States. I landed in Maryland, and my cousin said, phew, we're gonna be in West Virginia. Huh? What is West Virginia? I knew Maryland because I had family there, but I don't know. And of course, when I had met this Peace Corps volunteer, who is now my husband, and he said he's from Maryland, he's from Bethesda. So, what is West Virginia? My cousin said to me, it's another state, and that's where we live. So he took me to West Virginia. He lived there with his wife, who was a pediatrician, and their daughter. She was really sweet. When I came, she was just a little baby. And of course, my cousin, I had other cousins that also lived in Maryland but trying to move to West Virginia. He was all beautiful. in West Virginia. Initially, I hadn't started school. It was new for me. You find yourself in a new country and then a new state, and you're asking, where is all of that Hollywood picture? No, it is not all Hollywood. That's not reality. This is reality. What I'm telling you now, it's reality. It is maybe what you're going through. You can transform those your struggles into triumph. So, if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, you need to do it now, because I'm about to dive into one of the most challenging part of my life. From homeless to doctor. From having nothing to maybe having everything according to my standard. From being scared and a woman and being denied the right to go to school to now walking through rounds with confidence, purpose, and boldness. I move from loss, pain, hunger, and built resilience, determination, strength, and with my faith and my family, I now walk and do rounds and care and be a mentor and be your friend. Yes, your friend. Somehow, we all grew up, we have different course to our lives. Things didn't work out with my current living situation. I found myself on the street. Actually, I had started school in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and I had a different course for my life, and maybe my in-laws or other people had different trajectory for me. When there were clashes, it was time to go. But when I left, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to leave from West Virginia to Maryland. So I walked. In fact, I walked to my school, Martinsburg, West Virginia, and there was nobody there that night. I was scared. I was terrified. What if somebody raped me? What if I was killed? That was really tough for me. But I trusted my God, and my mother was praying for me throughout. And these are not real tears. These are tears of resilience, of faith, of determination. That's what I want you to get out of it. I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I want you to get out of that dark part of your life. Whatever it is you're going through, you can transform pain into purpose, and you can live that life. Those obstacles is what they are. And together, we will make it work. Yep, a night, I was in the bathroom, did not really sleep. I prayed. Like Jonah in the belly of the fish, I said, God, you brought me all the way here. You would not let me die. I will become that doctor, and I will share my story with the rest of the world. The next morning, I had some friends. I was different. It's West Virginia, right? I was different. You know, sometimes the kids would come touch me to find out if I was real. But yeah, I'm real. You don't blame those kids. You don't hold anything against no one. You educate people when you feel that they have fallen short. It's our responsibility collectively in the world to teach love and respect. One classmate of mine, Sonia, she came to school. She saw me with my little suitcase and tears rolling down my chin. She immediately thought something had gone wrong. She's like, you don't have to take this test. We had an anatomy physiology test. She said, you don't have to take this test. And I said, I have to. I'll take it. I have to become a doctor. What do I do? She's like, are you sure? I took the exam. She put my stuff in her car. Guess what? She was Caucasian. This isn't about race. Whether you're white, black, pink, Asian, European, Chinese, South African, Kenyan, Uganda, Cameroonian, Nigerian, whether you're Republican, Independent, CPDM, Democrat, this podcast is for you. There is no color, there is no gender, there is no race, there is no political affiliations. It is just me talking to you and giving you the tools to become what you are destined to become. As I went home that night, Sonia's parents-in-law came visiting. They heard someone showering upstairs. And they said, you have a visitor? She goes, no, the classmate. She doesn't have a place to go. She's sleeping at school. That's where my adopted parents come in, and I have a whole episode where I talk about them. They said, oh, do you think she's gonna come with us? I could hear them from upstairs. I said, I don't know, right now she's really scared. She's scared and they haven't treated her too well. And I heard the pastor Kurt said, we have a big home, you have a little spot here. Their only son was in Iraq. And I heard my adopted mother, Robin, said, if that's the last thing I do for God to save my child and bring him home, I will do it. I said, let's ask her. So they brought me gentle. And I said, I remember saying, as it stands, I have nothing. I've lost everything. But my integrity is what I wasn't gonna lose. My drive, my determination. I said to them, I don't care where you take me. I have that thing inside telling me that you're taking me to a good place. I'm telling you here now, I want to be a doctor so I can mentor, I can help other people navigate what I've been through. I'll go with you, but you cannot sway me away from my dreams. And they said, oh, I didn't know how to drive. It took me to a strange home. I didn't even know what a fireplace was. They turned on the fireplace. She took me shopping. She bought me my first clothes. Remember, I kept saying, I wear myself in West Virginia. And the kids sometimes would touch me to find out if I'm real. But there are people out there with good hearts. If If you're going through anything that is difficult and you think you're alone, you're not alone. God sends the right people to you at the right time. Subscribe to the German podcast because together we're gonna navigate your challenges.